All right. Let's see if we can get Miss Lejla on. Well, hello, beautiful. I can see your face.
Hello.
Well, hello.
Oh, hi. Beautiful. This is fun.
Yay.
Yay.
So I see your a still shot. Do you see a icon for the video option?
Um,
Should
aha.
be. Aha. Boom.
Yay.
Hi, girl.
Hi. This is fun.
Hi. Right? Right? This is how
I
we
love it.
do it.
Can you hear
This
me
is how
fine?
we do it. Yeah. I can. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for hosting.
Absolutely. We've had some time in the past couple of days to share and realize there's so much to share with the world that I thought, hey, let's do this.
I love it. I love the inspiration. Yeah, I'm there with you
Yes,
completely.
yes, you are. Yes, you are. Uh, so, my name is Carlotta. I am the founder and uh, practitioner, one of the practitioners of the Light Body Lifestyle. And I would love to introduce Miss Lejla Lolani. Yes. And it is an honor to share time with you. You've had such an adventurous life, and I really find a lot of inspiration on how you flow. So
Well, thank you. You too, girl. That's why we flow good.
right, right. We gotta walk the walk. It's all about walking the walk.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So I'll let you introduce yourself, and then we'll dive in.
Okay. All right. Well, my name is Lejla Lolani. I'm very happy and excited to be part of this group. This is my first Zoom meeting and my first sort of contribution to this kind of feminine embodiment group. So I'm really excited. I've been inspired to connect more with sisters and to unify and to empower each other through all the different ways that we're inspired to. I live on the island of Kauai, where CJ also is, and I'm a very passionate person. I'm a mover and a shaker. I have a lot of energy, and I like to manifest the flow that I want to manifest. I'm creating my reality, and I'm learning along the way and loving it and loving the journey. So it's really cool to be able to bounce these reflections and concepts around with others and find others who are in the flow state too. Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Right on. So what I really picked up on sharing time with you um, was the in the moment manifestation, like finding that intuitive space inside and being able to look back and go, wow, I by following that I got here, which led me to here, which led me to here. So kind of in hindsight, realizing the guidance has always been there, and it's a matter of whether we are attuned to it and follow it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the inner compass.
Yes.
And I find that a lot of it has to do with trusting that and first identifying that voice inside of you that wants to come through. That is your you. It's your higher self, your true you, your soul, and being brave enough to say yes to the things that it might be coming through and saying, even though it may not be familiar or something that you've done before, but just honoring that resonance and trusting where it guides you. It's very magical. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about some magical moments for yourself and what that meant for you.
Well, I've actually had a really flowy day. I can reflect on it kind of being that very serendipitous in that way. I think one of the things that I really have grown to rely on in my existence is just flowing with my intuition in how I make decisions, but also just in my daily life. Like when it's time to do something, when it's time to finish doing something, when it's time to open up to a new thing, and just letting it kind of blossom as I go through my day. And I might have things that I, intend to do. Like I have things that people I want to see, or things that I want to get done. And so I put those intentions out at the beginning of the day around kind of a vague time frame, and then I allow them to just sort of happen. I trust that they will happen in divine timing. And so that's a really a fun meditation that I keep coming back to, and it's always a return to center, right? Because returning to my center is returning to the now, and to trust the flow state. And today was a great example of that. I was able to do a lot. It felt like a lot, but I've been just kind of cruising through my day and saying yes to the things that have come up, even though some of them were not on my radar, but feeling the resonance in myself. When it's a strong yes, like, am I meant to be here in this? Am I meant to be participating in this? And when it's time to finish doing that and honoring that. So it's a lot of awareness, actually. It's a tremendous amount of awareness of the energetic currents in my being, because my energy reflects how I'm feeling, and how that reflects on the other people, right? And other situations. So if I feel there's a tension or something that's not feeling good, then I look at that, and why is that? Why is that feeling like it should be a different part of my flow? And sometimes you have to be really honest with yourself, because if you're not in a comfort zone of something and you're still there, and it's kind of like, well, I could go and do XYZ, but really might just be bailing, and then maybe I shouldn't be bailing. Maybe I should trust this new scenario and this new feeling or situation and roll with it. And I had a really serendipitous exchange with a bunch of goddesses today. I ended up playing gin rummy for the first time in my life. It was so sweet. A friend of mine guided me to a women's gathering, and they gather every Thursday and play gin rummy, and for no reason at all, just to gather. And so it was really sweet just to kind of figure it out on the fly, and to spend this amount of space with them, and to be fully present and engaged and learn something new and meet new goddesses, and then know in my internal radar and feeling when it's time to move on to the next thing, and to see a friend who I had to swim with. And it's interesting how, people who are in that flow state, like I find you and I are very much like aligned in flow. We always kind of show up at the same time, and it's like that, even though you don't necessarily look at the clock, there is communication involved, so you stay connected with like your energetic auras, and then it just aligns, right? Because I'm trusting my reality, and in its fullest, you're trusting your reality. And so we're co-creating a merge. And then it's perfect. It's going to be immaculate timing, because we're both in full trust. There's a dear friend of mine, and his name is Lee, and we go out swimming every week, usually on Thursdays. And he is one of those friends also. His nickname is Lee Here Now, because he likes to be here now. So we always show up at the same time, and we go for a swim, and it's always like whatever my needs are. Oh, I can't hear you.
Hear me?
Yeah, your bandwidth is low.
Yeah, that's what it says. Although I'm sitting right next to the computer, so so I heard his name is Lee, and then
Here Now.
Lee Here Now.
Yeah.
Love it, love it.
Yeah. So anyway, it's sweet when we trust our own flows and others trust their flows. Then it's serendipitous. It flows with ease.
Yeah.
And we don't run into barriers, or anything, roadblocks.
Yeah. there's something about surrendering to the now. We talked about that a little bit, as in finding that piece of whatever's meant to be will show up. And it's kind of, I look at it like a treasure hunt. Like every day is a treasure hunt. I could literally wake up and just be like, ooh, and I do my little happy dance, because I'm like, oh, I woke up here again. Here I am again. So there must be a treasure hunt ready for me to discover. And you know, like you were saying, you have your intentions, or maybe something you say, oh, today feels like a good day for X, Y, Z. And there's always that kind of cushion of just being able, like you said, to tune into that and then recognize, ooh, it's the now for that. Like it's the perfect now for that. And then whoever shows up in that now is supposed to be a part of the party. You know, it's supposed to be a part of the, you know, the plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
like that. There's, you know, I think there's also an element when you are in that space, and then if you happen to go out of that space, right? Because our mind, we're human, and we're getting triggered. There's a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on. And so if you happen to kind of fall out of flow state, or maybe you feel like you're not right on time, you're not at 11:11, you're maybe at 11:10 or 11:12, you know? Right? So it's, there's spaciousness there, right? That is feedback that's telling you that all is not lost. You know, you're actually right about there. You just have to trust and feel, you know, where you make that fine-tune adjustment and just step into it, just step back into it. And so it's very forgiving, the flow, it turns out, if we are able to receive it that way. And
absolutely.
You know, don't panic. Just don't panic. It's okay.
Right. I got you. It's like Source is always like, I got you. You know,
exactly.
It's like, it's like that raft underneath that's keeping you buffered just enough for you to like catch your synchronicity, right? And manifest that synchronicity with the intention. Or when you realize, you know, when you said that, it reminded me, my hero and I, we're on our 3rd year, it is, I think. And the first, you know, being in the type of dynamic that we're in, which, you know, I had no idea what I was in getting into, like this whole, the divine unions are a whole nother level. So, you know, what was so profound about that, was that, you know, independently, we rocked our walks. I mean, you know, it was like, we got this, and it was very apparent, like, you know, that we were both very capable and very tuned in and had our, you know, our guidance. And, you know, we were rock stars in our, you know, like, you know, we knew how to hold it down. We knew how to roll with everything. But becoming merged, you know, into that divine union, it was a whole nother endeavor of synchronicity, because that, you know, and it felt like that we saw each other, we you know, we came in, you know, we kind of settled in, and then we would find this little and it was like the gears weren't quite, like you were saying, they weren't quite there. It was like 11:10 or 11:12,
getting that wiggling in.
And I felt like we were just out of sync. Like, you know, I would catch an aha, and then I would leapfrog ahead. It was like I'm the leapfrogger. I would leapfrog ahead, and then he would take little deep, and leapfrog ahead, deep, and so we had this interesting, we had this interesting calibration, and it took a good, you know, 2 years to really now feel flow. Like, not that, and that's not to say that, you know, everything's, you know, a bed of roses all the time, but it is now such a refined relationship when you can honor one another's pace.
Mm.
And whether you're, no matter who you're speaking about, whoever you're co-creating with on whatever level, whether it's professional, friendship, an intimate relationship, sisterhood, however it is, to have that subtle awareness,
Yeah.
and us kind of being like source, allowing them that space to
Yeah.
catch into the synchronicity, or just hold space enough to where they, that your flows can merge. That was a huge lesson for us, huge lesson for us, with
Yeah.
relationship and being present.
Yeah. You're breaking up a little bit. It'll come back.
That was
There you are.
very, you got me?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. One of the things that was, kind of part of what a relationship is for me, especially when we started living together, was like mealtime. It's like we share mealtime, and it was my love language. So I'm like, hey, it's something he loves to cook, and so it was something we did together. But it's funny because then we found ourselves kind of in this predicament where he's like, well, it's not really time for me to eat. My body isn't asking for something, and
Uh-huh.
so
Uh,
we ended
right.
up, which was I'm like, but I just need, what I mean? Like,
I
you
mean,
know,
I
or,
did dinner now.
yeah, but then I realized, and it was kind of, it took me a lot longer to adjust to that. So now we don't, although we live together, we don't have a meal time, and, we'll check in and say, hey, you know, are you hungry for anything? And he might say, I'm feeling like a smoothie. I'm feeling something
Yeah.
really light today. And if
Yeah.
I'm, so it's just interesting. It was a huge, like, whoa, that when we
Yeah.
take ourselves out of that 3D expectation of what relationships are or
Yeah.
what they're supposed to do, all the components, and we just get into that flow. It's even down to like that now. It's like he eats when he needs to eat. I eat when I need to eat. And what was interesting is at first I kind of felt like that was robbing us of some sort of quality time.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But now, because he is doing it when he needs to and I'm doing it when I need to, when neither one of us is doing that, it seems like we have more quality time to
Yeah.
do other things that we really do enjoy together. And so it's that was one of the things about the synchronicity, and like a lesson I learned is like, oh, things don't have to look like what I'm used to them looking like. And I realized I had an expectation around that in a way, and that,
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn that my love language could be expressed in a different way.
Yeah, I really love that. I love how you describe that way of relating, because that is like the embodiment of full trust, I think, in a relationship, because you let that person be fully in their freedom,
Yes.
what they need to be doing for themselves, and they let you do the same. And it's so trust is a big part of it. And I think that's so much of all our relationships, right? It's like not just our personal romantic relationships, but how we interact with
Yeah.
each other. And I can definitely attest to, that finding that calibration with partners, with former partners and my current partner. We've reunited after being apart for 9 months, and we met 9 months before that, and got married all in a hurry. Like it just happened, like spontaneous magnetism. You are the one for me. I'm the one for you. Let's go have babies. Okay, yes. And but it was like flying so high, and it wasn't. We were not attending to those things, to the feelings of the other and to ourselves. Right? It was not coming
Mm,
from a grounded, centered space. And so now that we've reunited, we're both very intentional about our time together. And we don't want to be hurtful. We don't want to be projecting anything on the other person
right.
of ourselves, right?
Right.
And it's so much about that. And what I'm finding is, like you said, when we let go of these constructs, um, that we're taught about relationships, or even just basic constructs like, it's 6:30, it's time to eat dinner. I made dinner. Do you want to eat
Right.
dinner? Right? So even just letting go of that, I find that when I communicate my needs in the moment and my wants and express to him, then he can reflect his needs and wants to me. But the beautiful thing is that I'm finding more and more that we're merging with what those are. Like we're
Right.
wanting the same things in the same moments at the same time, and maybe even the same kind of food, right? You know, so like that that is, it's like a co-creating literally of the moment, because I am in my full sovereignty and he is in his, and so he stands, you know, together we're unifying and co-creating something that works for both of us, right? And that's really
Beautiful.
the beauty of union, and that it's like relationship yoga. You have to be really feeling each other all the time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it in general in all interpersonal relationships, it's meeting each other where you are, like where the other person is, right? And so you may be at different emotional states, vibrations, whatever, but go to the space of where the other person is, and then you merge there, right? So
Right.
then you can rise together, and as opposed to like, well, I'm here, you're there, like, you know, it's about merging where you are and then riding it up together in trust. So much,
Absolutely.
so much,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's easier to honor each other that way because it's you want what they want for themselves,
Yes,
and
totally.
they
Yeah,
want what you want for yourself. So it becomes such ease. There's so much ease and grace and
yeah.
support, support and encouragement. And sometimes I feel like I'm off the hook. Oh, Cody, you want a smoothie? Great. Because, now I don't, have to go into this production mode because that's kind of my,
That's really true too.
yeah. And so it's like, it's a beautiful thing to be able to have that attunement and not, again, have no agenda, no
Mm,
expectation, which is a part of that manifesting in the moment. Like, what is in the now? And how do we celebrate it and honor one another, no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, no matter who we're with,
yeah,
and realizing, me's a we, like me is a we. So,
yeah, yeah.
what works for the co-creation. It's like,
Mm,
I made Source a promise
mm-hmm.
uh, about a year ago or so. Yeah, a little bit over a year ago, and um, it was like I was like, you know what? Just show me the win-win. Show me
Uh-huh.
the
Yes.
win-win, and I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah,
Just show it to me. Like,
yeah,
I'll know when I see it, and I trust it. So just show me the win-win, and I'm in. But
yeah.
just show me that. Don't show me 10 other things, right? Like,
Right.
just present to me. I want, and I said, I'll do the work. I'll do the work to be that centered and that neutral and that open and receiving. And
Yeah,
neutrality for me is,
yeah.
yeah, the neutrality for me was what I had to cultivate. I had to
Mm,
learn what neutrality really was, right? And
yeah.
then I
True.
felt,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then I felt more receptive. And then when I became more receptive, I became more observant.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something so beautiful about when we interact with each other's energies, and when you
My
come,
wants,
oh, sorry. You broke up for a sec.
oh shoots,
Okay.
just that my wants became the wants of the whatever was in the field. It was like I felt more uh, less of a me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Right. It then it is truly the win-win-win, right? It's the exponential win for the whole situation. And it's so true. It's that space of equanimity
Yeah,
where you can bring your presence somewhere and stay and just exist in the presence. And by being open and, like you said, receptive, then you never know what medicine might come way, what new blessing might come your way, right?
right.
I definitely didn't plan to go and play gin rummy with a bunch of goddesses today, but that was really sweet medicine. That was like exactly what I
Oh,
needed to do in that moment. And so just opening up to those situations, and when it's on like a personal level with another individual, if it's a partner, then you never know what you might learn from another person and what they might bring to the table of them for you. And whether it's just like, he's having a smoothie, well, maybe I'll have a smoothie too. That's not a bad idea. And you can grow and evolve in your beingness by being exposed to other people's beingness.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's the merging and the dancing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of reminds me of, again, allowing the field to show you what's present.
Yeah.
Right. And then, being excited, in other words, resistance, creates the right.
Yes.
But if you're
Yeah.
just receiving and excited about what shows up, you're way more like into it. You're way more like, ooh, what's that? What's going on over there? Now
Yeah.
you have a couple of interesting. You have an adventure coming up.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
and this all, again, the flow and how this had all been arranged and manifested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Through
and
Mercury retrograde, mind you, there is flow even within retrograde planets.
oh yeah, oh
Totally.
yeah,
Totally.
but it takes that appreciation for that receptivity for you to
Yeah.
recognize,
Yeah.
oh, this is why this is being shifted. Oh,
Right.
okay. You
Right.
can actually concede and go, oh, I get it, and not get stuck in, well, I wanted it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we start to see the beauty, the poetry, and the plan
Mm-hmm.
of why things were shifted. You know,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
you have with the divine masculine, divine feminine energies, and healing ancestral timelines, and you have a lot of this opportunity coming up. Is there anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, I would love to. So I'm going back to my motherland, which is Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's where I was born. And I'm going back to spend some time with my father, and to do a lot of healing together. So we haven't really had the smoothest relationship throughout my lifetime, but we are very much kindred spirits. And I think we're going to reconnect on the soul plane more, and do a lot of healing together of the ancestral, the family lineage and the ancestral lineage. And I just want to hang out with my dad. It's gonna be, I want it to be as simple as that. And I think we're both feeling that convergence. And it's been interesting navigating this trip, because it popped up, the intention of it, before the global crisis. And so I've really been holding space for it to continue to be something that will manifest, right? Because my heart has been pulling me that way, and I've been honoring that. And so my trip has changed so many times, like the dates and the physical ticket was canceled. So I had to feel back into when is the next available opportunity to have a flight. It's a lot of feeling. And it could be, the changes could be attributed to like Mercury retrograde or something. But the one thing I learned then is you have to really have patience with the flow. And if you don't get a strong yes, then you just stay patient. You stay in that space of equanimity, waiting for the next strong urge to pull you somewhere. And that has been a huge teaching in my life, a meditation, because, I'm a very passionate person and I'm pulled by my heart a lot, as evidenced by my marriage that just sort of evolved and blossomed and then crashed and burned, right? So it's so important to honor our passion and our heart, but to also listen to our inner guidance, and a lot of it our intuition, right? It's the intuition is the guide.
Yeah.
It takes us through the flow state, because it's ever changing too, right? And that's the thing, we have to always have that inner compass guiding us. So I feel really good. I feel like I have full alignment going into this journey, and I'm excited to leave the island and go into the world. And I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of chaos that I experience in all the different manifestations of duality and vibration and all that. But it's all divine, right? It's as long as I feel good about it, and I am moving forward with that flow in front of me, then it is exactly as it's meant to be. And whatever I encounter, it is what I'm meant to encounter. And so when you think of it that way, then they're not obstacles, right? They're not like, I'm going to run into something uncomfortable. It's something that I might learn from, or somehow a blessing in disguise, right? So you have to trust the uncertainty of it, and trust
Yeah.
that your inner compass will guide you back home when it's time, when you're ready, and when you've earned it in a way, and when you've stayed present with it. So I'm really excited about it, and I think it's going to be tremendously healing for both my family and myself, and just to go back to my motherland it's a big part of me. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I like what you said about that. Just the obstacles, or what I always say, the challenge is any obstacle, any perceived challenge is truly an opportunity.
Yeah, totally.
It's the cosmos lending us something on a scale that, if we are receptive and in that equanimity, we don't see it necessarily as devastating. We get interested in it, we get curious about it. We go, okay, hold on, this is happening for a reason. So when I experience that, I always kind of pause, take a couple breaths, ground myself, and just say, what am I not seeing? Or I'll even ask directly to source, what are you showing me? Yeah. What are my blind spots? What do I need to understand about this situation? What have I not thought of yet? What have I not embraced in my heart yet about it? Yeah. And I have to ask myself what is it that I'm fixed on? Is there something that I'm fixed on that I need to be more flexible with, to where, I pull myself out of being maybe not so neutral. And, I'm like, look, you're either trusting the process or you're not.
Yeah.
And I have to be really real with myself sometimes, because when I find myself in a state of resistance, I'm like, okay, where could I show more trust?
Yeah.
No matter what, whether it's my significant other, whether it's a job opportunity, or, anything. It's like, how do I show more trust in this situation? Because that's usually where I grow. That's usually where I could be showing up differently,
Yeah. That's a really great point. And I always, I often come to that space where, when I feel like I'm in a little corner, and I ask the universe, what is it that I'm not seeing, or what is that is the medicine of the moment? And when you ask, the answers will come, the path will open. You just have to be ready to see it, right? To receive it, and however you will see it. So you are supported by the universe. That's the thing, that when you go into this path and into the flow, you will always have everything you need. And if you forget or lose your way, or you kind of lose the breadcrumbs, you can always find your way back. The universe is very forgiving, really forgiving, because it wants us to converge at our highest, right? It wants us to vibrate high. It wants us to be seamlessness in unity with everything else. It's a lot like nature happening around us. We are a phenomenon of nature, and nature in its spirit form is just is. It's just happening, and animals coexisting, winds moving, trees, all of that is happening just because it is. And so we can too. We are.
Yeah, for sure. So I like that a lot. I always say source in a drop, like they say ocean in a drop.
Yeah.
It's like, we are source in a drop.
Yeah,
And so
totally.
we're not ever not source. We are source. We're multidimensional beings. So I always am like, okay, how do I hop back on the source bus? Like, how do I get myself a little bit deeper seated into reminding myself that we're limitless creators? And, I like to say we're the taste buds. We are the sensory receptors of source in the 3D. We are feedback. We're beacons. We're feedback for source. And that our desires, our dreams, our wants, our, our, all of the things that we, our delicious curiosities, are sources like most, I just feel like sources like the genie in the bottle going, okay, now what? Like,
Right.
yeah, like, what do you dream? What do you desire? What do you
Yeah.
want?
What magic
Um,
you want. Yeah.
yeah. And it all comes down to like how we are transmitting back. It's like, oh, I feel this cool, blissful breeze, or I'm floating in the ocean and I feel so comforted. All of that sensory is, in my mind, going straight to source. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the neuro pathways in our bodies. It's the same. There's no difference to me. There's no.
Yeah. Broke up for a second. Here we go.
On it
Oh,
somehow.
there we are. You're back. Okay. Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
No
Yeah,
worries.
it really makes me think about the beauty of this human journey, because we are source. We are already unified consciousness, right? So when we're born into this life, into this body, we have amnesia, so we have to start all over again, returning to source. So the whole object is to remember what we are, which is source, while having fun and learning along the way. And the more that we approach it almost like, just like with childlike wonder, it is that, because you're constantly evolving into the moment of what is and what the opportunity is. So the more that we kind of streamline that access point. And I remember when I was kind of figuring this out in my life, and how to trust the flow, and because it's something that's really familiar, right? But it's like, you don't know, is it for real? Is this
Right.
alignment real? Like, is this truly possible? And I remember that, like, throughout my awakening, like, you learn to really notice the breadcrumbs, because your soul is trending towards that, no matter whether you're conscious of it or not, right? Because that's what it's here to do. It's
Yep.
going to do that anyway. So the more conscious you become of that, and the breadcrumbs and the things that the universe plants for us, the more you realize that it's really a magical land. It's a magical realm that is meant to be a playground of creation for us. This is a space where we can create anything we really want. It's really a magical kingdom. And it has been mistreated, but that's part of the journey. So part of the journey is remembering how to return to our innocence and our purity while having the human trip, and experiencing all of it, and the anger and the depression and the loss and the joy. That's all part of it, So when you think of it that way, it's a lot less pressure to exist, to do, to succeed. Just be.
Just be. Yeah. Part of one of the things that keeps me there in that spot, and this is something that, when you learn something that's effective and it profoundly changes you, it's something that you can even speak about. And in my coaching practice, it's something that I find myself oftentimes suggesting, and it's, how to stay in that
Mm,
inner child curiosity perspective of the now,
yeah.
and how to never forsake that most pure space
Mm,
within you. How to give it the reins sometimes, because I believe our hearts hold the purest part of who we are. Is that inner child. Our hearts, that emotional body, that full of love, that
yeah.
ever abundant, limitless space of love and compassion, Christ consciousness, is in our hearts, where I feel like our inner child it's its home. It's like I'm forever a 3-year-old in my inner child. So we give ourselves away. We're programmed, we're conditioned, we're socialized out of that,
Hmm.
and told what to wear, what to look like, what to be. Big boys don't cry, or whatever.
Yeah,
The
right.
world,
Right.
we're, the innocence is peeled off,
Yeah.
layer by layer, and we're told to be these humans.
Mhm.
So I have a altar basically on my bedside, and it has that little 3-year-old picture of myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I have, and and I have little things that remind me, and I have a little yay sticker on it, and it's like I look at that every single morning, and that's the first thing I pretty much see, and it reminds me that it's you and me, kid. Like, you
Yeah,
are
yeah,
in
yeah,
here. Yeah,
yeah.
you're in here, and life is meant to be an adventure,
Yeah,
and I got you, and I'll never forsake you,
yeah.
and I will allow you to show me the world today. Let me see, and I say, let me see through your eyes today. Let me hear through your heart today. Let me, and let me give to the world that unconditional, pure, childlike presence that is, just there. It's unconditional. There's just, and I really feel like making a promise to uh, meet the delicious ambiguity of
Mm,
the now with
like that.
that
Delicious
presence.
beauty. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thank you. I really feel like that's how that's the best way I can like approach the now, and start my intention of the day,
Yeah.
and nurture everyone else through that part of myself, because I feel the most free, and uh, I guess non-egoic
Yes.
from that point.
Uninhibited. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think you're touching on a really important aspect of this human journey is honoring our inner child, because what person does not have a wounded inner child at some point, right? That's what is. That's what we're meant
Welcome
to
to humanity.
feel, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so and when that child comes through, it just wants to be acknowledged and honored for what it is, for the pure essence that it is, and that it's always within us. It always is part of us. And I honor that. I really love how you have the picture of yourself, because that's such a great reminder that always return. You always got that inner child with you. You're always buddies, no matter what. And it's sweet to be able to play with the inner child of those that you love too, right? To play with each other's inner child,
Yes.
and to return to playing a lot too. I think because of all these like social constructs that we've been taught that we must do, we forgot to play and to keep things simple. And we may be adults in our bodies, but we're still eternal children, and we are eternal. And we talked about this. The age doesn't matter. It's about how you feel and how your spirit feels, and that keeps your body and your vessel also young. So it's kind of a win-win-win when you stay with that bright light of purity within you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something, very, very foundational and very
Mm,
simple. It's,
yeah.
I mean, children they're immaculate beings, right? We all know that. We all know that, they all come in immaculate. And then, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Uh, and I feel like creating in the now with that, in that perspective, keeps the honesty, it keeps the integrity, it
Mm,
it keeps the well, I want, because children want to, they want to be loved, and all they want to do is love and be loved, right?
yeah.
They want to be, they want to be accepted, so they're more accepting,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
so that for me, it keeps me humble, it keeps me hopefully simple, and yeah, I you know, I would rather go out being silly and playful than any other way.
Then you're being authentic. You're being uninhibited, authentic. Your
Right.
spirit is is what's being reflected.
Exactly. Yeah, let that show up.
Yeah.
I can trust that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, in our last couple of minutes, we probably have 10 minutes or so. Is that correct? 15 minutes or so. Is there anything in your heart that has come up, or that has that's saying, "Hey, I want to share this."
Yeah. As you were saying that, the part about the child wanting to express love and be loved, I find myself resonating with that more and more. And I feel like maybe it's because I have given myself the acknowledgement and the free license to be that I'm really in celebration of the ability to be that way, and I just want to share that with everyone else. It's almost like since I was a little girl, people would ask me, what's the most important thing to you in life? And adults expect all sorts of answers, and I remember always saying love.
Yeah.
Just love. Just love. And they kind of look at me like, no, okay. It's a weird thing for a little girl to say, but it's so true. Like, that's always what I have cherished and embodied and wanted to share with others. And I feel like we are there. We're on this beautiful precipice of space in humanity's journey where love really is showing up, and love is transmuting so much, and it's love that's really going to save us and free us and liberate us. And the beautiful thing is, it's not like something we have to learn. It's just what we are.
Right.
It's what we already are. And like I feel that joy in you when I share space with you, because we're there. That's what we're experiencing in true essence. And then whoever we come across, whatever experience we have, we get to share that and reflect that. And then it's beautiful to witness how it just cheers people up, how people shine brighter when you bring love. And it's simple. It's like that with all creatures. So that's just what I've been the space I've been reflecting through. And it's also a challenging time too, because there's a lot of things that are not love floating around. All the spaces. There's a lot of different dissonant energies that are being transmuted. And so, as somebody who's a big feeler and empath, my meditation has been being also discerning with my love, and making sure that the love that I give out is being honored, and where I'm not overthrowing love in a space that isn't ready to receive it. Because if you think of it all on just an energetic level, it's all just vibration, right? So we want convergence of the highest vibration for ourselves and others. So sometimes it's okay that we don't converge in the same space, but every time we do collide with each other, we do affect each other. There's a tremendous ripple effect. And so I do my best. I do what I can, and I have to take care of myself and honor my human, but still love. And it's really a beautiful yoga. It's a beautiful journey to inhabit in this realm. So it's when you honor that, it makes it more juicy and delicious.
Delicious. I love that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, and I think you hit on something really important. We have this pureness within us, this natural state of abundance and love and playfulness, and yet our exterior world is really reflecting the full spectrum at the moment.
Right.
And I think without it becoming too simplistic, what I anchor in on is that deep down, and for some of us who are really intentional, it's like you said, all we really have to do is be what we are.
Yeah.
I can trust that love conquers all. I can trust that love can transmute and transform. I can trust, because I've seen it in the 50 years that I've been living, you know, that how remarkably powerful across the board. So for me, no matter what's going on exterior of me, I stopped seeing people. I now understand everything living, you know, non-living, it as frequency and as soul. So, you know, I understand when I, you know, like, you know, it's like I just see souls now, and it's such, that changed me. That for sure, like, made my experience and my interactions totally different. But, you know, seeing soul to soul, like literally going, and then, because then you, when you see it on a soul level, then you pick up on the frequency that they're carrying so much faster.
Yes. It's like a bing, like homing beacon, just like boom.
Yeah, and then you can trust that whoever's been brought into your field will either be nourished by your love, or they'll get their fill and they'll, you know, co-mingle, or they won't be ready for it, and they will innately disperse themselves.
Yes.
Because they're not quite ready, or they're not quite, but it, you know what I mean? But so really all we have to do is be what we already are, and keep being the lighthouse for it. And that's what's going to remind the world, you know, that we're already fifth dimensional, seventh, whatever, you know, but, you know, it's that harmony between the heart and the mind that allows us to just continually be love and be comfortable in love, and not feel vulnerable, you know, not feel a need for protection. You know, love is impermeable.
That's huge, actually. I think so. Yeah. And especially if you're a sensitive person to other energies, you know, when you hold your pillar of light, then you still can feel, but it's not as much of a permeable membrane, because you're holding your pillar, your center. So it's important that we shine in our creatures, so that we can then ripple effect, you know, to the rest of the world. But I like to joke that, like, I feel like the universe has given me free license to be my full creature, my full freak, whatever that is. You know, I don't even know. It's just happening, right? It's happening. But I know that. And so that just makes me open even more to the possibilities of what I can and am becoming. And because I get to do me, and you get to do you. And it's all good, and we're all beautiful, and we're all still unified.
Yeah, we're never not unified. It's the 3D mind that, if it goes on some tangent, you know, goes down a rabbit hole playing, you know, Alice in Wonderland, you know, but, you know, which is, again, that's why I say, you know, I know I'm limitless source. I know I'm multidimensional. I know this is a 3D avatar. So if it checks out, I'm good. Like, I know I'm going into, you know, it's like, there's nothing, you know, so when if there's ever conflict, or if there's anything that comes up that feels, again, like a challenge, or it feels like someone or something or some circumstances is you know, not in the same frequency that I'm in, I literally get excited, and I'm just like, I am source. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, what do you need? You know, like, and it brings me to a place of just filling up and anchoring into that. And I'm just like, if you need to take everything that you cannot suck me dry. You cannot bleed me dry. Like, I am source. Like,
energetically possible. When you self-realize what you are, it's not energetically possible. You're constantly just regenerating. But part of it really is honoring the vessel. You have to take care of your body, and you have to feed it and nourish it and allow it that opportunity to regenerate, because we are physical creatures. I just wanted to say one last thing. You know, right now, because there's so much happening in the world, a lot of my loved ones and people I know are going through a lot of different emotional ups and downs. And, you know, I process a lot of emotions too. I feel a lot. And the one thing that I've really grown to realize too is that when the darkness comes, that is also a really deep part of me. And, you know, I appear really happy and joyous, and, you know, it's who I am. But I also have processed a lot of darkness in my life. And I think what I realized the most lately is I just honor it. It's like that, the other part of the child, right? It is a
Yeah.
child that wants attention, that wants acknowledgement and to be loved. And it doesn't need to be resisted, because
Right.
that, you know, the duality we are both darkness and light, and it's both divine. So I realized the more that I honor the shadows and the moments that I get triggered, that the quicker I return back to my center and go back to source. And it's that's so much of the process, is allowing that stuff to come through, because it's not just maybe even from this lifetime, it's not even comprehensible, right? That's the thing.
Right.
I was trying to figure out why I feel all the things I feel, right? Like, I don't
Right.
even know. It's just coming through me. And so it's important that we all honor that within ourselves, and that way we transmute that faster and release those cords.
Yeah, I think it's about the way I say what you're saying is that it's about nurturing the shadow. It's about
Yeah.
giving the shadow what it
Yes.
needs. It's about honoring that, like you said, and loving it. That's all it needs is and we wouldn't, if we weren't so light, we wouldn't have so much shadow, you know,
Right. Right.
and the shadow is mostly programming. So, and a gap between what we understand and how to nurture it back into wholeness. And so it's an embracing. It's like a little child that's been beat, and now you come to rate, you know, to hug it, and it's going, ah, you know, you're like, no, and then you start loving it in the tone. You know, you get down on your knees, and you get to, you show differently, you show up differently. And yeah, and any shadow, any trigger is an opportunity to nurture, period. To me, it's like
Yeah.
I may not understand it, but I am here to nurture this.
Yeah.
You know, there's no running away. There is simply embracing, sitting with it, acknowledging it, and then knowing on another level, on your higher self level, that I got you. Again, it's like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like there is nothing that is shunned, nothing that's not lovable. We have to tell ourselves that every single day,
Yeah.
and emit that outwardly, because the more acceptance we give, the more acceptance we get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the hardest for ourselves to truly love ourselves and honor ourselves. That is the journey that we're arriving at every day.
Well, I love that. I think that's a great ending point. I think that's something that would be a high note. And I adore you. I cherish you.
Oh, I love you, girl.
Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom, all of your authenticity, and your big old smile and your big old
Yeah,
heart. And
you
yeah, I'm
too.
excited for all that you have to come.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for facilitating this and bringing me into the circle. I really appreciate being a part of this. And I just want to share with my sisters and raise each other up. Yeah. So thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Aloha, sister.
There's
And
more.
yeah, and we shall see each other soon, I'm sure.
We shall frolic soon.
Yeah, rolling soon. Aloha, love.
Aloha. Love you all. Thank you.
Yay.